10 seconds.
They're going to have a think about this. In all fairness, Masteros did make the Sand King pickup last game look pretty good. So they might even think about getting rid of that instead. But I'd still say the Tide is a bit more concerning than the Sand King is. Have a think about this one. It really does depend as well on what you're going to run the POS 1 roll for Savage. Just want to make his life as easy as possible, and they get rid of the Slaughter, which does indicate a Lifestealer pickup. Unless Motivate ban it out right now. Which they may as well.
I mean, the Lifestealer would be really good for Among Us. Like, there's a lot of magic damage here to dodge. Makes the Ember Spirit pretty much a non-factor early on in bursting that pause 1. You've got the vehicle in the puck. You've got a lot of ways of following up in the Lifestealer, so it could be really good if Among Us do manage to let that one slide through. And it can rip through a Tide, so you have to worry about that if it does slide in there. Master's matchup might not be too good. They opt to ban the AM instead.
Okay.
So the Lifestealer, as you mentioned, it's still in the pool.
Interesting ban out here, just assuming that Savage would want that AM as their last pickup.
10 seconds.
Do they want the Lifestealer or do they want something different?
5 seconds.
It's a bit tough though, right? Like you pick up Lifestealer, you've left the Masteros Tide, so he'll probably just pick that up. Void, obviously, into the Lifestealer isn't very fun for the Lifestealer because you do have the Chrono up. I still think there is some nice value there with the Rage, for sure.
Yeah.
But he might just get kited around, which is the problem I'm seeing here.
I don't think it's that big of an issue being kited here. You can at least grab the supports every time. The cores might be harder, but you've got the puck to kind of deal with that and the Static Storm from Whitemon. I mean, if that Static Storm doesn't land, you're probably not catching any of these guys anyway. So I think that's a lever you've got. They pull out the LD.
Wow, okay. So bringing out something different here. There's the chat wheel coming out from the side of Among Us.
Oh boy.
Okay.
We have not seen this in a very long time. I mean, we've seen Savage Lone Druid. It can do work, but we haven't seen it forever because the LD's got some shaky timings. We'll see. We'll see how far Among Us can pull this off. They do have the lineup to support this. Abed is on a much more sacrificial mid. The puck does not want to farm. It does not need to farm. It just really needs what? A Yule's Blink or a Veil Blink, and you're good to go. So I think Among Us can buy the space out. Abed just needs to farm like a madman. Into a Void, it's a strange one. Like the Lone Druid, if it's caught out, might melt, but it is a fairly beefy hero for what it is. So there is some durability there anyway. MG.Trust now, they've got to think twice whether or not they want that Tide here for Masaros. I mean, it could still fit in. The LD is still going to have a good time farming. You know, he can just kind of toss his bear in front. He's got range, but it's still a steady one. And
oh, it's an off-lane Void we're seeing here.
Yep.
The Terrorblade last pick out from Jackie. All right. Masteros Void.
Oh, here we go. Yeah, it's the swap out, and they've done this before, MG.Trust. It does pay off. Masaros can make it work after he starts laying those chronos out. This is going to be an interesting back and forth. Very different draft to close out the series. A lot on the line. Both teams wanting to make it to the grand finals to face off against Boom. They're going to have to give it their all. See how it pays off. Jackie Terrorblade. This one was one we've been talking about being one of his favorites, but just never coming out. We get to see it this time to close it out. It's going to be a treat from both teams, Mike.
It will be. Very intrigued to see how this one does pan out. One more game left, and then we're on to the grand finals. Should be a very, very good time in there as well. Who do you think has the better draft, though, John? Just you know, not based on teams, but just based on drafts alone.
Draft, I would say it's a hard one to weigh out. I think MG.Trust has some pretty good timings. That they can play around the Terrorblade, pushing towers fast, then pull back to farming, get lines up with their chrono timing as well. So Metamorphosis and Chrono should line up to be available at the same time. I think they can definitely play around that. It does take a little bit more farm for your Void to be effective. and your Terrorblade. So you're going to have to stall out mainly for your Terrorblade. I think the Void might just be looking for one item, and you're good to go. Among Us, for their part, 4 of their heroes come in line really quick, and Savage does not. So you buy space for Savage. I think it's easier to punish that 4 Protect 1 here. MG.Trust just needs to play with her cooldowns. Considering how they've been timing themselves in the series, I think they have a draft that is easier for them to execute. Among Us, they've got to be able to get that farm out, and we've seen them kind of struggle. Like, Savage just hasn't been able to overtake the same way he tends to do so. And if he doesn't overtake here, the LD might just be dead in the water. So they've got to get that space out for that greedy pos 1.
They do. Both teams looking to be in good spirits going into this third game. Has been a really nice series between these two, and there's that Ogre King comment again. Happy birthday to my pro Dota 10. Still have no clue when the man's actual birthday is, just because they say it every day.
His birthday. Yeah, maybe it's just every day. Yeah, just birthday every day. Look at this, Mike. Jabs being aggressive this time. They're not going for the Roche play. He's just going to run right up to the high ground.
Yeah, he's going to spot out Jackie. Going to force him back. Jackie asking him to stop it. Right, Mon. He hasn't been hitting that Roshan today, John. He's looking at it, though.
Yeah.
There it is. Oh. There it is.
There you go. There it is.
That's the
That's
secret.
the good luck charm. Yep. That's the difference. They didn't do it in game 1. You know? They didn't do it in game 2. That was the big one. So, we'll see. We'll see if this pays off for Whitemon. It has been working so far. It's got to pay off here, Mike. That play has to give them some space out.
Whitemon could be the MVP with that play, John. You never know. We'll sort that out after this game. Onto the bounties. 2 for 2 trade. No real contention here. Savage sending his Spirit Bear through, trying to see if he can steal one away, but not quite going to be able to.
It's going to be really interesting lanes to watch out for. The bot lane, of course, you've got Q with that snap, queuing up with Masaros on his off lane faces Void. Again, an old school off laner that MG.Trust does pull out. Going to be 2 of them against Savage alone. And that's the beauty of the Lone Druid. It can hold the lane out alone. You can go for this early tri-lane, and MG.Trust has to be careful. Terrorblade at level 1, it's fairly easy to squish down.
Jabs, tossing back Jackie. He used that Metamorphosis. He does not want to die like this. He's trying to go after Jabs for the first blood, but Jackie is getting very, very low. And no, they get the first blood before Jackie does die. Boombill, able to take it. Whitemon going to TP back down to the bot lane. Make sure he helps out Savage. Although you did lose that TB with that Metamorphosis, at least you get the first blood on Boombill.
Yeah, I'd say this is going to be slowing down Jackie's initial 2 waves, though. Like, without the Metamorphosis, Cuckoo just gets to bully you like this. You're a melee hero against Venno. You cop the Gale, it's not a good time.
Listen, that mid lane, Fearless is going to be there up against Arbed. Arbed really dishing out some nice harassment already onto Fearless, and it's one of the strengths of the park. You can do this to the Ember Spirit and make his life a living hell in this mid lane. We have seen Fearless, however, come back from behind many, many times now. So he should be kind of used to this happening.
Yeah, it's really down to just hitting level 6 here for Fearless. Again, he's the kind of mid that doesn't tend to look for a lot of aggressive plays, or at least aggressive farm. He just wants to find kills as they come up.
Top lane, Boombill ended up going down. A nice toss play out from Jabs, and he almost killed off Cuckoo on the Venno, but he wasn't quite there. Meanwhile, bot lane, Q, going on to Whitemon now on the Disruptor. Whitemon, be alright to run. Q did not have another Scatter Blast available at the time, nor did he have a cookie. Just want to just shut down this Disruptor as much as possible so they can start focusing in onto 23 Savage. The Whitemon is now out of mana, so it should be a little bit easier for them to focus on the Lone Druid. I say that, it is still going to be slightly tough with the Spirit Bear in front of him, but that's what they need to get done.
Yeah, I think the big win there is that Whitemon is out of regen. No salves, no tangos, just a fair fire left on the Disruptor. They managed to use this time while, you know, his regen's not quite ferried out. You can find yourself a bit of a win, but his crew is right nearby. It looks like they're just going to have to contend, and for Masares' part, he is finding some good last hits. Savage is keeping up, though. You have to watch your spacing with the Bear. A couple of lucky roots, and you're not going to be in a very happy place as to face this Void here.
Arbit basically in that mid lane by himself. Fearless had to back off for a bit, but he'll come back into the mid lane now to try and get some CS for himself. It is just very, very tough, but he'll go for a chains out onto Arbit. He'll at least get the range creep. It's just a real struggle here for this Ember. Luckily for him, he does have the bottle up and Fearless. Run back at Arbit, who also has his own bottle up. These 4-minute power runes are going to be extremely important.
They definitely are. You do have a slight edge in movement here as the puck, so Abed can set himself up for the power rune a lot easier, and he's also got jabs walking down from top. You do have movement out here from MG.Trust. Q's also blocking off the bot one, so it's just going to be a matter of luck who gets which.
Abed gonna go on to Fearless now. 4-minute power rune is gonna be down to that bot lane. Fearless does get the DD, but now Jabs comes in with an avalanche and the kinetic field. Fearless has no way out of this. He's trying, but it is not gonna be anywhere near good enough. Boombill might be able to kill off Jabs though on the Tiny at least, so you get something for your trouble, but it's definitely a much better trade for the side of Among Us.
No, definitely. They're keeping that Ember Spirit down. Abed's off to a fantastic start down mid. You can expect our puck to start getting that early momentum going, and the first early items to come in. If you get a fast blink on a puck, you can really start causing havoc in the backline, and that's something MG.Trust does not want to have while their cores aren't farmed up yet.
Absolutely. Looks like Savage is doing a decent enough job farming down at that bot lane, but I've got to say Jackie is still ahead on that Terrorblade. And it looks like he's not really copping too much damage here, out from the side of Among Us. He's farming rather freely on this TB, and that could be a cause of concern for Among Us later on. So Cuckoo and Jabs haven't really focused in too much on the TB. So Jackie, for now, will have a very, very nice start.
Yeah, you have to be cautious about that. Once the TB does have magic immunity, it's going to be hard to rip through him. So you want to maximize the presence of your Veno early on to apply that pressure in the TB. They are keeping checks in the jungle though, so it's not like you can really get the easy stacks going that you want to build up with this EV, and that's going to cause some issues down the line.
Abed trying to go in onto Fearless, but he's just getting rid of some HP. His Jabs was coming into the mid lane to try and help out with Abed, but Dream Coil going to be committed. Fearless did pop a DD rune and won't be able to follow up thanks to that Dream Coil. Abed is allowed to orb out of there. Still, I think it is pretty good for the side of Motivate.Trust that they did not manage to get the gank off there with Jabs in that mid lane. It's all thanks to Boombill, who's been really focusing in on making sure that that mid lane is protected. Fortunately for Fearless, however, he will not get the 6-minute power rune. It will go over to Abed, and that was an arcane rune for the puck.
It's always a good time for the puck when you get that easy wave clear coming out. Lots of good control as well. Fearless is holding this lane out well, though. He's only about 2 last hits behind. And you can see Jabs is having a better time with these rotations. He does have at least the smaller camp stacked up. There's some farm that can flow in here.
Cuckoo now on a killing spree up in that top lane. Does kill Boombill off once again. It's the thing with the Plague Wards. It is very, very hard to go into the Venomancer when there's so many wards around. Now with Savage up here, they're going to try and force in this tier 1 top tower. Looks like Jackie has already committed to going to the jungle. In fact, he will TP down to the bot tier 1 and try to sort that one out.
Yeah, should be a straightforward tower trade. You might get a freebie in Whitemon as well. They're going to just try to match the pace of Among Us in terms of objectives and kind of just trade a tier 1 for a tier 1.
Whitemon, he's been caught out here by the Astral Spirit. Does get a kinetic field, but the stomp is going to connect, and Whitemon will eventually just die to Jackie. You trade on those towers now. 23 Savage, the one to get that tier 1 top tower first. Of course, with the lone Druid, it is very easy to take down towers quite quickly.
Yeah, it's just the shining point of that hero. It can really get a split push going well. Savage just doing what LDs love. He's trying to get a pull off. Fearless will intercept. So the bear might be in a spot of trouble. There's that tier 1 trade. Among Us, though, they're lined up for mid as well. Cuckoo's already down there. The wards are coming in, and they can slowly chip away at the mid tier 1 as well.
But they can. Dream Coil going to catch out the Snapfire. Doesn't have any help around. He'll just go for the cookie, and here comes Masaros with the Void. He doesn't have level 6 yet, so no chrono up on Masaros. Be a little bit cautious about his positioning here. Another nice kill there being set up from Arbed. Be a 5-3 now with a slight net worth lead over to Among Us.
Yeah, and it does mean they're hitting their timings here. You can see the difference when Abed is playing on a hero that can be this aggressive early on. It's buying so much space for Savage. He's just free to build up on top lane. He's going to have his Mask of Madness for his bear very, very shortly. So the Spirit Bearer is going to be a menace to square up against. Abed, for his part, almost has his Veil of Discord. So the Puck's damage is going to skyrocket. Even our Venomancer and our Tiny combo will also be that much burstier. You do have level 6 up in Masaros, though. And our Void is rushing the Hood of Defiance. So he could go for the Pike build-up to mitigate that magic damage coming out. And there is a smoke from MG.Trust. It's just Fearless and Boom Bell, though.
Yeah, but they've got Masaros in the mid lane. They could use him if they want. Fearless going to go for the chains onto Jabs. Savage going to be around with the Spirit Bear. We'll just commit the fear and force them back. But now Masaros commits Chrono. He only got Jabs. They'll have to take it, though. Jabs does try to struggle a little bit, but does end up dying. Of course, they wanted to try and catch 23 Savage out in that Chrono if they could, but he was just off.
You'll take what you can get. First Chrono, still finding you a kill. Not the biggest kill, but it's important to build up a little bit in terms of pickoffs here. Masaros doesn't mind too much. They are just trying to get some space back in the jungle. So at least getting some movement out there, shoving out the supports. And Savage, probably not feeling too safe that deep in. Just going to focus on the lane. Pull back to the safer part of that Dark jungle. And you are giving space out to Jack. The Terrorblade's still uncontested. Number 2 in net worth above Savage, below Abed. Does have the drums up, along with the 2 Wraith Band. So he is hitting fast. They can maybe force fights out while Metamorphosis up. But again, they're just focusing on the slower game here.
They are. Smoke up in the mid lane. Abed, Whitemon, and Jabs. They already have Cuckoo pressuring that mid tier 1 tower. Savage now going to move in onto Fearless. He will snap the coil, but the Avalanche is going to stop him from TPing, and they even commit the Static Storm just in case. So he couldn't remnant out of there. Into that tier 1 tower, and with this lone Druid, you do tend to take it very, very quick. Masaros, he'll be glimpsed back. He time walks away, but Cuckoo going to be there with the Gale now. Boombell, however, a nice stomp out with the Mortem's Kisses to fly in. They want that Venomancer, but they will still lose Masaros, and they might even lose Q, who's still trying to chase down Cuckoo, but will get punished for it.
Oh boy, that's a lot of kills to bleed out here from MG.Trust. They have to be really cautious with how they split up these fights. Jackie will not join them. This is a smart play for Jackie, but they have to remember they're a man down, and Abed spots Jackie out.
Jackie does not want to die right now. They have the Veil up, so it's a lot of magic damage. There's your silence, but the orb did not connect, so Jackie can go for a Sunder. A rare mistake out from Abed. Does place the tree, runs around in circles, and Jackie will just get out scot-free. Mid-top lane, however, Jabs. Being caught out, the Earth Splitter. Not really going to connect there. Jabs just going to make a run for it with the Avalanche and the toss back, but Fearless will be able to get the chains off. And they do have the damage output. However, Jackie...
Jackie? He stayed.
Oh, he stuck around down at that bot lane, and Abed, he must have assumed the puck TP'd out, but he did not. Meanwhile, top again, 23 Savage. Going to go for a solo pick-off there onto Boombell. Now we'll just morph into the bear form and just walk out.
Oh man, they're finding too much here among us across the map. Jackie's the biggest loss, but you do not want that Terrorblade going down. He is their win condition. He needs to keep farming up. Savage now is in bully mode. You know, the LD with a Mask of Madness on the bear, with the Blitz Knuckles on top. It just right-clicks so fast. Really easy to chain proc those roots now. And you do not want to run into him alone. So they don't even have control of their trade. This is just one hero controlling their jungle, and they can't even punish too well.
Oh, they got Savage with the chains, but he's a bit too tanky right now. That bear form is about to wear off though, so MG.Trust, he's going to go for the chrono, and that's perfect timing. Into the Mortimer's Kisses. It's a lot of damage out. Savage, he will just take it. He accepts the fact that he is dead. It's Savage sticking around in that top jungle a bit too long.
Yeah, just a back and forth of mistakes here from our pause ones. Still, I think MG.Trust are going to weigh that equally. They do have Metamorphosis ready to go, so they can go for the mid-tier 1 push to get some control back here.
MG.Trust going to go on to Cuckoo. Hoping for a first hit bash if he can afford it, but no, they got the chains anyway into the cookie, but the Poison Nova was committed by Cuckoo prior to him going down. Now a 3-man Dream Call. Abed looking for the cleanup. Jabs in with the Avalanche Toss, gets Fearless, but does go down to Jackie. Now Abed needs to make a run for it. Jackie's hitting too hard. He'll get Abed on the puck. Now turning back onto Savage, but the Bear just rooting him up constantly. He needs to run away on this Terrorblade. MG.Trust going to sneak in from behind onto 23 Savage and try to fight back. The Fury is going to be out. Savage still alive, and nice Thunder out from Jackie. Going to buy him more time, but it's now onto MG.Trust. Meanwhile, Whitemon getting caught by Boombill, does end up dying, and MG.Trust does manage to get himself away from that Spirit Bear. That was a full team wipe, by the way, John.
Oh, man. Yeah, Boombill, though, caught out.
Eventually, we'll go down here to Savage. Unless he got that haste rune, but no, he gets rooted in place. Fearless, however, will take the haste rune for himself, and we'll just Remnant out immediately.
It's a big win for MG.Trust. They do not manage to take the objective, though, so I guess, in a way, it's a successful defense for Among Us, just really costly with all the bodies they throw out. You do not want to fight that Terrorblade when Metamorphosis is up. We talked about it, but the initial farm is there for Jack. So he does right-click hard. You will need to space yourself out against that hero and line up your spell use. It's not quite there. Like, Cuckoo dropped too fast. He could sustain Plague Ward spam in that fight, and the Veil just didn't do enough work. So you've got to be really cautious.
Might be caught out in this mid lane. They get the chains off into the stomp, and MG.Trust should have the damage output there with Fearless. They do have jabs coming in with an Avalanche Toss onto MG.Trust, and now even Abed. Showing up with the Boots of Travel. Commits the Dream Coil, he wants the Void. MG.Trust trying to buy more time for himself. Places the tree there as well. MG.Trust is going to be able to time walk out, but the toss is there from Jabs. They do eventually get the kill onto Cuckoo. Now Whitemon getting Boombill with that glimpse back, but the Mortimer's Kisses going to fly in. That'll make sure that they do save the Titan, but it will mean the Snapfire will die in return. Onto Fearless now. Fearless sticking around, goes for the chains with the Static Storm, is going to be dropped. They don't have a way to really lock him down apart from the Static Storm, but with the toss up from Jabs, it will be enough, and the silence there from Abed. Both teams trying to play on the edge, but Among Us are coming out on top.
Yeah, this time they get the punishment out from Among Us. They are getting the silences off. That's another key thing. It's been key in the past game as well, but when Abed this time lands his silences the puck, the Ember without defensive items is a sitting duck. So the Yules has to come out ASAP. He is fairly close, Fearless. He's about 400 gold off, and once you've got that, you should be able to frontline a bit better. Have to be cautious. Among Us, they are trying to get that space back here. They've got control in the triangle. They've got the blink up on Jabs, so they can initiate a lot easier if they find an opening.
Seeming very confident here. Got the MKB coming up very soon onto 23 Savage. That's when you are going to start getting a bit more concerned here as Motivate.Trust. Still, Jackie is going to have that Manta coming up soon. So things are working out for both teams. You've got to really ride out the storm that is the Lone Druid. Once he has that MKB up, it's just so much damage you can pump out.
It's a bit tricky for MG.Trust though, because they need to play around their cooldowns. So they are up, and MG.Trust might get a good chrono here.
Wants to get Savage, but the bear form is going to be there. He'll just run straight through the river. He'll spot out the bear, but it looks like Whitemon going to get jumped on. Still, they did lose Boombill. That'll be your Disruptor gone. Now a chrono. He caught out Abed. That's the one he wanted. Snapfire Kisses to fly in. They do get the kill. On to more now. Abed, he could buy back, but he will not. They will accept the fact that they've lost this team fight, and Jackie on a triple and an ultra kill. Jab's going to jump in and just make sure he does go down, however. No rampage for you, he says. But it won't matter. It's It's a lot of gold out for this Terrorblade and a full team wipeout for Motivate.Trust.
Yeah, they just play around their cooldowns. That's literally what we were talking about beforehand. As long as they play around Chrono and Meta, they will win all of these engagements. Among Us are the ones with a little bit more pressure to play in that downtime. And they haven't quite played as much. I mean, they have been finding kills, but not as much as you'd expect. They need to step their A game up. They need to maximize this Blink Dagger on Jabs. He does at least salvage that situation up, but knowing these spots are down, they can go for more.
Yeah, they've got Masros who'll try for the TP play. Abed does have the Dream Coil and will just commit it every single time he needs to. It's a short cooldown, but Masros trying to buy time and he cannot. Abed does have the damage output. Back into that mid lane for 23 Savage. They don't want to give up on this aggression. They want to keep at it, try to get more objectives off the side of Motivate.Trust. With this Metamorphosis down, they should have a good opportunity to do so.
Yeah, it's not the fastest spell, and this is going to be the issue for MG.Trust. Still a full minute until Meta is up. Around the same time for the Chrono. So they're going to have to just watch these towers go. They can try to fight, but they're going to have to find really good openings here.
Well, Abed's currently down at the bot lane, so it is going to be a 4v4 situation in that mid lane. Unless Abed has found the Terrorblade, Jackie is still down at that bot lane as well. So Jabs jumps in onto Fearless and almost takes out the Ember. Fearless going to remnant out in time. But that tier 2 mid tower is still in danger. Jackie does not have a TP for 20 seconds, so he cannot join his team. It's not like he would anyway without meta. That'll be a tier 2 mid tower gone, and Among Us could try for a Roshan.
Yeah, they go with the safer play first, taking the outpost. They need some wards around the jungle. That's one place where they've kind of faltered. The vision game has been slightly off going on here, and you've got some great wards already from Motivate.Trust to watch the aggressive jungle play. They are clumping up. They've got, I believe, Metamorphosis up, and Chrono's going to be up in 7. So they can go for another play. Among Us have to be cautious about these timers. They should know this is when Motivate.Trust wants to fight.
Yeah, Masros, he may try and commit Chrono here. They don't quite get the stomp. Masros still time walking forward into Whitemon, but here come the TPs. Fearless, he's just going to remnant straight in onto that Disruptor. They want that Static Storm gone. There it is. It's been dropped onto Masros. Still looking for that Chrono, but he's been silenced up by Abed and cannot get out. So there goes your Void. Now the Dream Coil onto Fearless. He can't get out of this until it does expire. Earthspirit are going to be out. Fearless doesn't have any remnants available. Uh-oh. He gets the Yules off, but it's not going to be enough. He'll try to buy more time, but he's definitely going to go down. And Abed is on the hunt for more. No Dream Coil, but he might be able to just kill off Q by himself if he really wants to. Does jump in. Doesn't want to dive the tier 2 tower too far, and in fact, Jackie going to cut him off now, but Abed will be able to blink away, and the rest of Among Us are into the Roshan pit.
It's going to be a big one to take. There is still a Chrono upon a respawn, though, for MG.Trust. So they might be able to force a team fight out. They held onto Meta, but the Rosh is going to fall a bit quickly. Got to run in quick with the Chrono if they want to play here.
They're going to try. Masros looking to go in, but that Roshan is so darn low. He needs to hurry. Cuckoo's slowing him down with all this poison. The Gale does not connect. There's the glimpse out. The Roshan still going down. Are they going to make the play? It's only Masros trying to get in. Now the kinetic field to hold him down. Masros, no, he can't make it in time. He tried to time walk. It's not going to be good enough. They pop the meta as well, but they're not going to get the team fight, or maybe they will. Fearless does go in for a chains. Abed is going to be there with the Dream Coil, though, so this is a bit dangerous. They'll give up on it. Cuckoo and Whitemon do successfully slow them down enough so they could not make it into the Roshan pit.
It's a big win for Among Us. Having the second life up for the LD means Savage does not need to worry too much about being caught in the Chrono. As long as he has his bear off cooldown, he can afford one death. And MG.Trust, they have to sit back a bit. They still have Chrono, but without Metamorphosis, you're lacking a lot of DPS. You're going to have to sit back, relax. You are very close to Jackie finishing up a BKB anyway. That's going to be a key timing for the TB. Takes out the damage of Cuckoo, of Abed, even Jabs, and should allow him to just man-fight there. So have to watch out for that from the TB, because Jackie, he's only about 400 off.
Fearless.
You do not want to be caught surprised by.
They were trying to chase Fearless down up that top lane, but he is going to run to the tree line and be just fine. Back to taking the outpost there for Jabs. Cuckoo will continue to keep that mid lane pushed in very aggressively here on this Venomancer. He's been doing some great work. Of course, Jackie's net worth is still kind of skyrocketing on the Terrorblade. BKB on the way now on the Courier. You might just wait out that Metamorphosis and maybe go for a team fight up against Among Us with that BKB. Obviously, you do want to try and get that team fight off before Abed does have the Aghanim Scepter Dream Call. In fact, speaking of Abed, he has spotted out Q. He's trying to run away on this Snapfire. He does have the TP, so he can force out the Dream Coil. He's going to wait till it's expended first. Whitemon now going to join in with the Glimpse. Cookie is going to be there, still trying to buy more time, but now the Static Storm going to be dropped. They do eventually get the kill. Into more, in fact. Masaros going to be spotted here by Abed. They have no way to lock him down. MG.Trust just going to back off.
Playing it safe, they just lose the support. It's not a big loss. Of course, you are trying to farm up the Ags on your snap, so that kind of offsets that progression. Among Us are going to take a tier 1 for their efforts. Not the biggest tower. And, you know, it's pretty much a dead lane here for MG.Trust, so they're not going to mind too much. You do still have, again, you're waiting on the Chrono here from Masaros. You've got the Metamorphosis ready from Jackie. The BKB is still waiting to be used. And Among Us, you know, 5k lead. They're playing with the LD. They've got really excellent scaling. The only issue is you will have to be very cautious as the game goes on. Chrono becomes a very, very difficult to handle spell as it progresses, but you're still meeting your power spikes in terms of items here. And it's really down to MG.Trust to find the openings. They need to get good Chronos. They need to get a good use of the Metamorphosis along with that BKB. Looks like that might have to wait for maybe the tier 2. More than likely, it's going to be the high ground where they really hold out there.
Desperately want that Eye of Skadi up on Jackie. 23 Savage. Looking really good in this lone Druid right now. We'll have the reconnection out from Q. Just wait for the go-ahead. Looks like they are ready to go. Even Jab's going for an Echo Saber on the Tiny, interestingly enough. Something we see too often from a Pos 4 Tiny, but nothing wrong with having a bit of bonus damage.
See you later, nerd. See you later, nerd.
I guess you can upgrade it to the Silver Edge down the line. I'm not really sure what you'd want to break here, but it gives you more slot-efficient DPS, I guess, maybe down the line. Still, the right clicks are pretty nice, and I think they are anticipating that because there is a pipe up on Masaros. So the burst damage from your Tiny is mitigated. Just going to have some easier time to at least get a couple of tree hits off to get the damage going here for your team.
Abed is going to have that Ags up. Motivate going to have to fight against the Ags Puck, which is going to be very, very annoying for them. Top lane, Fearless just trying to shove that in, and Fearless suddenly has his own Ags coming out soon. Oh, excuse me, no he doesn't. Wrong hero. He's just trying to work towards the BKB. Needs that up first. Abed, however, going to spot him out with the Dream Core now. Again, he's caught in this awkward position. He does use up jabs. Might buy him enough time, but there's your silence out now from Abed. They're chaining everything very nicely, but Fearless is going to have enough time to be able to get out of there. He'll go back for the bounty, but Remnant's out again. Abed wants to try and chase. Does commit to the jaunt. Jabs on the chase, gets the tree throw off, but it's not going to connect. Meanwhile, Masaros down in the pod triangle is going to die at 23 Savage. Able to finish him off on Whitemon with the Static Storm catching him out.
Yeah, I mean, it's not being used in bigger team fights, but I don't think it matters. If you take the Faceless Void, it means you don't have to worry about Chrono. Tier 2 push opens up, and MG.Trust, I think they really start to look at the high ground as being where they have to play. You don't want to take the risks outside. You're just going to have to seed some objectives out. They do have some good wards, and the Ags is up here from Q. So maybe you go for a gobble up play, catch them by surprise.
On to who is the question, though. You need Masaros up on the Void. Fearless going to go in for a chains, but he'll get feared up. Tier 2 tower is still dropping low, and there's your Aghanim Scepter now on Abed, and the BKB there onto 23 Savage. Coming out now on the Spirit Bear. They do stun up Savage, but they know his team is around him. Gobble up is there. Masteros is going to catch out too. He got Arbet. The Mortimer's Kisses. No, the toss away from Jabs. He gets Arbet out of trouble. Now the 3-man Dream Coil holding them all down, so Savage can get to work with that Spirit Bear, but he is going to lose one. Savage now, as he realized he wasn't in the bear form, Savage. He's going to die. They at least get Boom Bell for their trouble. But Motivate.Trust successfully fight back. And they get a 2-for-1 trade.
Ooh, that was not good timing for Savage. The Aegis expired right when he died. So, just, if he died like a second sooner, I think you'd be a little bit happier. You could go in for a play, but he didn't have his bear respawn anyway. An awkward position among us, nicely punished. MG.Trust. The initiation they've got now from Q is paying dividends. It's this Ags. You toss in Masaros, you get the chrono off, you get the kisses follow-up. Very hard to cancel, especially if Abed is caught up. Abed needs to be free from the chrono. He needs to be able to find an angle to reach that snap to break the damage off. And MG.Trust, they still are facing a 7k deficit, but they save their tier 2 bot. They save any sort of high ground attempt with the Aegis. And Among Us now have to be a little bit more cautious. They see the item reveals. They know they've got to play it safe, at least a bit safer, and they know what to expect now with the Ags pickup. They've got to find a way to break that up, but it's so difficult to read it. You know, it's not like you can have vision into the high ground in the base to always spot where the gobble up is happening, and that's just how MG.Trust needs to play now. They need to get the surprise factor off every single time.
Oh, Cuckoo, he got stunned up by that gobble up. Does have the Guardian Greaves. He will be able to purge off the chains just fine. Down at that bot lane. So they were having a look for Jackie, but he'll TP back up towards his fountain. And John, an interesting point I wanted to point out here. Dota Plus, even with the 7k advantage on Among Us, is still giving only a 56% chance of them winning this game.
Yeah,
So it's still a very even game.
It's the Faceless Void factor. You know, you go late, Chrono is just such a hard spell to deal with. Jackie's still going to be hitting like a truck as you scale on. So you definitely do have late game scaling here. And Among Us are the ones under pressure to end this one fast.
Jackie, he has meta up in 10 seconds. He doesn't want to fight quite yet, but Masteros even has the Chrono up in 5. They need to buy out a bit of time, but Among Us seem like they want to jump in here, perhaps onto Fearless. Toss in Savage. It's going to be onto Arbet. Jabs.
Well, it's going to be a dangerous time now to look for that tier 2. Among Us needs to be more disciplined with the split up here.
Oh, time dilation. They caught out Whitemon. Does have Static Storm available, but the Gobble Up stun is going to be out, and Whitemon cannot survive. He will drop. You're going to start to ask yourself whether Among Us are missing their timing now. They're still very, very strong with an AK net worth lead, but Motivate.Trust, even with the net worth deficit, are looking a bit stronger when we go into these team fights with all their skills available.
Yeah, it's down to Among Us having to play around those cooldowns. So when they see the Chrono, when they see the Metamorphosis, they need to take the fight immediately. Afterwards, they do have a nice advantage here. They've taken the outpost. Doesn't look like MG.Trust is going to be in there in time for the 30-minute outpost. And the Roche is up. You do have vision there with a courier, but there are some wards here from MG.Trust to watch any movement into the Roche. So you've got to be a bit cautious as MG.Trust, again, they've got Chrono up. They're just waiting for an opportunity, but Savage does go into pit.
Is he going to be able to get away with this? It's a fast Roshan with that Spirit Bear and all the damage it has. Motivate.Trust, they're heading down to the bot lane to try and pick off Arbet, so not expecting this Roshan play to happen. And Among Us might just be able to get another free Roshan for themselves. In fact, it looks like that is going to be the case. So Arbet is still kind of juking and jiving around the map, making it look like they are not taking a Roche, but they definitely are. The pings are coming out now from Boombell saying the Roche is being taken, but it's too late. They're not going to make it in time. Gobble Up is going to be there, however, onto Cuckoo. They'll try to fight this one out. Masteros, he does have the Chrono. They are going to go into the back lines, but the fear is there onto the Void, and now the Static Storm as well. Masteros still can't Chrono. He's been rooted up. still Cuckoo is going to die. Masros still alive, gets the chrono off.
Oh.
He's caught Savage in there with the Monoportimus Kisses to fly in. They do get Whitemon. They do get Savage with the Aegis. That's the first life, but Cuckoo, or rather, the Dream Call is out from Arbet. Savage going to lose the Spirit Bear. Jackie going to focus on the Lone Draw, does take him out. And Arbet has been chained up. Goes into the phase shift. They will surround. He cannot get away. Jackie is there with a triple kill now on the Terrorblade. And they're looking pretty darn good, Motivate.Trust. They might just be able to take this lower bracket final.
Yeah, they're on point. They've been using their spells well. Among Us are just slipping up. It's small mistakes like clumping up. They don't have enough damage to rip through Masaros. They need to focus down these targets, and then if they don't find a void, they have to split up. But they just don't manage to. MG.Trust are too quick. They have been forcing these awkward engagements out. And, you know, this would be the perfect time for Among Us to re-engage. The issue is, you don't want to commit buybacks. You know, even if you did come back in Savage, you don't want to risk it with a bear respawn. And that just means MG.Trust gets to pull back, keep farming up, build up on Jackie, build up on Masaros. These heroes are becoming really, really big issues for Among Us here.
Jackie's, that Satanic's gonna cause some problems here for Among Us. They don't have anything to slow that Satanic healing down at all. No Vessel, no Shivers, no Eye of Skadi, nothing. They've got to try and kill Jackie off. These team fights are just not gonna go their way if Jackie's allowed to meta and just hit people. Once that Satanic's there, you start to wonder how they're gonna kill him. It's going to be a very tough ask. Still, Among Us, they group up again. They're going to go for another smoke. They know they can't wait. Arbet will be the one that works on the Shiver's Guard now.
They don't have too much time. They've got to get the smoke running right now because there's only half a minute until Metamorphosis and Chrono is up. In fact, Metamorphosis a bit sooner. So if you're looking for that pick-off, it has to come out, but they just don't have the vision. MG.Trust just gonna definitely avoid it by playing together. And that means the next fight that breaks out, you're gonna have Chrono, you're gonna have Metamorphosis. It's Among Us that has to play defensively in that time. Keep trying to build up and just play it safe. The blessing here for Among Us is that their map is looking pretty healthy. I mean, they're gonna lose their top tier 1, but that doesn't really matter. Their tier 2s are still in a really good spot. So you do have a lot more room here to maybe give off, but MG.Trust are not going to stop now. They're staying grouped up, they're smoked up, they want to use that chrono.
Going to make their way down to the bot lane though. It's a long walk for him. Oh, Savage, he might go to farm that Dire Triangle. This could be really bad for him. He's going to keep the real hero behind though. Just stay out of vision and he will TP out. It's like Arbet broke the smoke of Jackie anyway, so they know they were smoked up.
A tool to teach. Tower is under attack.
Now back to that bot lane. Arbet going to be spotted by the illusions of Jackie. Or he'll orb to the left side. Gobble up, not going to be there in time. No, Masaros? No. I thought he might be able to reach for the chrono, but not quite. They do get the tier 2 mid tower, however. That'd pretty much be it. I mean, the tier 2 tower in the mid lane is pretty important.
Yeah, and allows some better control in Roche, easier access into that triangle. The big issue here for Among Us is that their scaling again is limited. Like you look at Abed, it's not the issue. Like the puck scales pretty nicely into late now. The issue is this Venom. Like Kuko has very sharp timings. He does have his aura items up, the Guardian Greaves and Piper there, but it's not enough. There's way too much damage flying out from Among Us anyway. Your skills don't do enough damage anymore. Maybe with your level 25 spike, you can really stall it out with just really tanky plague wards, but even then, that's really not going to be as impactful against something like the Terrorblade. So you need to find ways to build up. I think Whitemon needs his Ags up on the Disruptor very soon, although...
Bot lane, they have caught out Q on the Snapfire. Nice little pick up there for Among Us. Only thing is, though, top lane's going to be forced in by Jackie and the crew. It's not going to take him very long. He has double siege creeps up here. They might force tier 3 towers. No, they are going to back off. They'll play it safe. Someone's going to go and defend that tier 3 tower anyway. It'll be Savage. He's almost at his Assault Cuirass now for the Spirit Bear. So items are coming up. They do get the bot tier 2 trade.
It's evening out on the map. Among Us still holds on to one outer tower left. Just a little bit more control coming out for the Radiant side. These item spikes, again, for Among Us, it has to be on Whitemon. I think itemizing on Savage is great, but you need more ways of holding these team fights down. The Ags is going to help massively in that sense. For MG.Trust, you look at Jackie. He's got the Satanic up already. He's working towards this Abyssal. And once you've got that, you can really start getting the control off, getting the damage off. I believe Masteros is also flying out his BKB on the Faceless Void. So he's going to be able to get the Chronos off every single time. Even if you get that Static Storm off without the Ags, Masteros doesn't really care. So you're going to have to watch that, as I'm pretty sure MG.Trust are going to start to look for those pick-offs now. They've been sitting on these cooldowns for a while. They just want a kill to really get the ball rolling once more.
Well, Jackie's going to have an Abyssal Blade up very, very soon. Going to cause even more problems here for Among Us. Savage does have the AC, working to his own 4-staff into an Abyssal. Bot lane, they try to hunt down the side of Among Us, but they are going to be able to just disengage. Jackie now with the flicker up. Moves a lot faster and won't really need those boots once he does get that 6th item, if he wants to get rid of the boots. Of course, we saw Savage yesterday with the flicker making some moves. See if Jackie can get that lucky and do the same.
Yeah, it's, the Abyssal is up now, so gap closing for our Terrorblades, not a problem. The control flying in again is going to be something to watch out for. They are getting some pretty good shoves out. That is just Savage keeping the top lane in. So forcing a response out from Fearless, getting a little bit of space opened up on the map to keep building up. You still have a slight network lead here for Among Us. Whitemon is actually saving up for the Ags in a good pace. Just about 800 gold off now, or 770 gold off. Once you've got that on the Disruptor, again, the Ags, if you get it off before anything else can happen, it's going to be big. They just need to find the right targets. Abed is playing with fire, though. Just running around the top jungle. Could get punished if he's not careful.
Fearless is having a look with that Aghanim Scepter Remnants, but can't quite find him. Still a smoke up, the gobble up. No, he's going to phase shift in time. Quick reactions out from Abed. Masteros still hunting. Might commit the chrono for Whitemon, or might just wait for Fearless, but Fearless is going to go quite deep. Doesn't find either. Whitemon able to TP out of there.
Ooh, it's a lot of time being bought out by Among Us, just forcing the movements out. So that space opened up to keep farming here. Jabs still saving up his 4-staff, farming down that bot lane. Savage, I believe the AC is up. Going to be going into that 4-staff you mentioned. Same build up into Abyssal. Trying to get some spacing out, trying to get some control in play. Among Us is doing the best they can at this situation. Just cutting creep waves with a puck, being really disruptive, not giving any openings.
Got Whitemon. Does BKB through the glimpse. They really want to disrupt the dead. Whitemon getting close to that Axe, but not quite there. Will drop the Static Storm. Is going to die anyway. I guess on the positive note, he does force out the 10-second charge on Masteros, but I have a feeling Masteros is not going to mind.
Yeah, it's a pick-off. The unfortunate thing is that there are no lanes pushed in. And look at the work Abed has done. He's shoved every single wave out up to the tier 2 point, except for the top lane, but that just means you can't really transition that into a push. The Roche is up, though, and both sides are aware, sending in their couriers, so this is going to be where the next scuffle is. And since you have the Chrono here in MG.Trust, they can easily just take this one safely.
I love the fact that Abed's got a Spell Prism as well in the puck now. So he's just been pushing out waves so much faster thanks to that Spell Prism. It became even more slippery. Still, they need to do something about this Roshan. Jabs might go for a steal here on the Tiny. He's going to have to try. Free throw will give vision, but he does get scattered out. Masteros going to time walk in, but does not catch him out yet. Jackie's going to be left alone in that Roshan pit. Nobody else around from Among Us. It was only Jabs. And that means this Roshan should freely go the way of Motivate.Trust. And it will. Jackie able to pick it up. Does also get an Aghanim Scepter blessing for himself, so he does have the Terror Wave. See how all this pans out for him.
Yeah, it's going to be a really big power spike for the TB. Just having that wave coming out to get even more control when he has the Metamorphosis up. I am surprised to see that getting the Ag's Blessing while you have Meta up doesn't grant you the skill. So he's going to have to wait for the next Meta to have that. But it looks like they're going to just pull back, wait for their cooldowns to be ready on their Terrorblade. That does give time for Among Us to finish up those items, though. The Ags is finished up by Whitemon. So you've got the upgraded Static Storm. You have to throw your spells out first before the Static Storm lands because you're not going to get your BKBs off. So more utility here for Whitemon. That might be how Among Us comes back in. They are looking at a 4K deficit now. MG.Trust definitely on top. And look at the net worth of Jackie. He's at 40K. Almost 2 times more than Ovid and Savage. They've just given so much space toward this Terrorblade.
Jackie's insane though. Like, you give him space like this with an illusion hero and he's gonna take off. He's ran out of space for his items. He's currently put the Abyssal in the backpack. Holding onto the treads for now, not wanting to lose that movement speed. And he still does have the flicker. Let's just keep those treads until the Abyssal is gonna be necessary. Savage still playing the split push games with Arbed. Just can't afford to take a fight right now. We will have an Octarine Core coming up soon on Arbed though. So that's going to make the cooldowns even lower. Fearless does catch out the Spirit Bear. He will BKB it up and just TP it out. They do not want to lose that either.
Yeah, it's just really on edge here for both sides now. You're not quite losing it as Among Us, but you are on the edge. With one bad fight, it can really just melt for you. And that Octarine you talked about for Ovid, it's in play. Octarine Spell Prism on a puck. That's just perfect for him to keep that split push going. And that's basically what they need to do. I mean, look at that bot wave. It pushes in onto the tier 3s. Fearless is forced to come back in. Just to defend. They are clumping down mid. You do have your waves here, and Jack is ready to go.
Oh, Jabs, you got the toss back onto Jackie with the flicker. Gonna save him for now. He'll pop that BKB. Sunder is out as well. Flicker coming in clutch once again, John. But a glimpse back onto Masros. Into that Aghanim Scepter Static Storm. Is going to be Masros does go down, and now Jabs looking for more. Misses the Avalanche, now the Abyssal is going to be out from Jackie. He'll try to fight, but the toss back again. They want to control this Terror Blade, but he is still just going at them with the Terror Wave. Cuckoo trying to fight back, but he really just can't. He will die. A double kill out for Jackie. Masros has brought back and is making his way to the mid lane. Octarine Core now coming out on the Ember as well, but you do have one there on Arbed. MG.Trust, they may have had enough. Glimpse back, however. They've caught out Fearless, but he'll Remnant. They re-engage. Chrono is going to catch out 2 of them. They've got Savage in there. Jackie's going to get started straight onto that lone Druid, but now Arbed just trying to keep them safe. But Jackie able to go back onto the Spirit Bear. Savage being tossed down by Jabs back into the base, but Fearless with the double chains out. They killed off Boombell. Jabs is getting very, very low, but the fear's out from the Spirit Bear. Gonna save the day in Arbed, jumping in for some more silence. They've bought enough time that the Metamorphosis has worn off, but the Abyssal Blade is going to be out onto Cuckoo. He'll be alright. Jackie may have gone too far. He's been feared up. Fearless gonna be silenced as he does come back in. MG.Trust, they cannot push the high ground. They will head back.
They did manage to force out a lot of buybacks there. They were forced to buy back on Masteros though. Not going to be feeling too safe. They still have Aegis and Cheese, but without Metamorphosis, you've got to wait out the next minute until it's up. So Among Us do buy more time here. They still are on the edge, but you're seeing them find ways back in. If they get Masteros out first, take out the Void before Chronos in play, and then they can win the follow-up fight. They can get the control off. They still have big issues to deal with Jackie, as the Terrorblade is just... It's just way too much farm right now on Jackie. I mean, that's 2 times more than any of your cores. So you have to find another way to handle that. But I think they're also on such a edge here that if you drop Jackie, that's just going to be such a huge swing. So a lot of defensive plays from both sides. You can feel MG.Trust though. They're going to be looking to make their own move next. The Aegis does expire. They've spent a little bit too much time waiting there.
That they have. Abyssal now up on Savage. Even going for the Ghost Scepter after that, just so he can protect himself up against Jackie. Scan out is actually going to scan out Jackie and Boom Bill. Split push game continues between these two. Savage now queuing up a Daedalus for the Spirit Bear, just feeling like he is lacking some damage, which I would agree with. He is.
Oh man, we forgot to mention Jabs has Ags up on the Tiny, so he does have the 3 volley up to get some damage off. I mean, they need physical. You know, the magic damage isn't gonna cut it. They've got what? What level Dagon is it now for Albert? Dagon 3. They've even building up Dagons and Cuckoo. They just want to nuke them down. Try to get damage off when the BKBs fade off.
I love it. MG.Trust down to that bot lane. Jackie's going to give it another crack. Pops the Metamorphosis. Tier 3 tower. Going to go down very, very quick. Free volley going to be out onto the creep wave. They'll get rid of all the creeps there from the Dire side. But Boombill caught out Jabs with that stomp. Now the gobble up in onto Masros with the chrono. He wants that disrupt the dead ASAP. Fearless meanwhile going into the backlines, but he's been dream caught up now. Can he get himself out? No, he actually juked it out with the sleight of fist. Cuckoo and Jabs both going down. Now your Static Stormer. Whitemon is dead as well. They're trying to just kill off the Ember, but Fearless is going to survive. Abed's the one dropping on the puck. He will phase shift in time. We'll be able to blink back to the fountain, but the tier 4 towers now are under siege. There are 2 heroes up, 3 down without buyback. Can they actually win this one out? Among Us, they need to try and defend. MG.Trust though, not waiting around. They know there's no buybacks left. Jackie onto the second tier 4. He's already gotten 1. It's very, very hard for them to defend this. Abyssal Blade is going to be out onto Masros. There might be enough time, but no, the Gobble Up is going to be out from Q. He will protect, back spinning him back into the 23 Savage. Tier 4 towers still going down for Jackie. The Savage is going to fear up, back with the Abyssal Blade in, onto that Spirit Bear. Abed meanwhile, back onto Masros. We'll get the Void off. Does kill him. But the Ancient now is exposed. Jackie just getting started, but the Dream Coil is going to come out buying more time. The respawns are soon, but it looks like they won't have the time. Jackie just keeps going after the Ancient. How do you defend any further? Savage is going to run in by himself for the fear, but he does not have a Spirit Bear. He'll get the fear off. The Ancient now, backdoor protection's going to kick in. They don't have the creeps. They're going to try and go through it. There's just Static Storm out from Whitemon. The Ancient is so darn low, but Savage, another fear to come out. The Ancient's still dropping their Fearless is on, but the repair kit is going to be there in time. The backdoor protection, can they get through it? It looks like they can. Motivate.Trust have done it. They're through to the grand final.
Oh, that's revenge. That's the revenge they were looking for from the playoff start. The upper bracket, Among Us knocked them down into the lower bracket. Rematch here. They learned their lesson. Among Us, it was a beautiful run. I mean, keep in mind this team. It's sort of like the Dream Team. Came together, it was what, 2 weeks old, went all the way here. They do end their journey. MG.Trust, though, it's so beautiful to see how they've grown. The movements coming out here, Masaros' timings, Jackie getting the space, Fearless making the space. And it all just works out. It's going to be an exciting grand finals to watch between, of course, Motivate.Trust and Boom Esports. Both teams just having massive improvements since the last time we've seen them, and it culminates into a really big best of 5.
With that, we are going to move on to that grand final. It should be just about a 10-15 minute wait again, so not too long. It's MLP Dota and johnxfire, and we'll see you back in that time frame for our first game of that BO5. We'll see you soon.